What's cracking, everybody? XehrFelrose here, bringing you some Pokemon Go Battle League content. Today's video, taking a look at a team in the Great League that I had some pretty decent success with in the few sets that I got the chance to play it, and I wanted to share it because I think the team has promise despite the sets that I had. On paper, not a lot of gains, but I went 8-4 with this team, with 2 of those wins being at the tail end of what was an 0-3 set start. We pivoted to this team on stream, so if you want to check out the team in action, we can do so. Also, we're going to be doing it here in the video, obviously, is we're going to be focusing on a team with Mandibuzz. I really wanted to play a Swalot team. I have a Swalot. I said I have to use this thing. Heard good things about it. And lo and behold, as I'm going to record this, I noticed that my, Jonkis put up a video on Swalot already. So I'm like, all right, I'm not going to do this with a Swalot feature, but Swalot is on this team. You could probably run any reasonable poison type in the lead. You could even run, Grimer, Clodsire, Drapion, really any of those will work here. We have 2 things in the back that are going to do well into the ground types that plague Swalot, as well as Lapras. Mandibuzz locking down a lot of the Psywave users in general, but Credilli also just being a really strong save swap. Rock Tomb is just absolutely just a game changer for Credilli. So let's get into these games here in the Great League and check out how we play these teams, how we play this team. Right, so lead, Ghost, get out, right? If Sludge isn't hitting it for super effective or neutral, I tend to try to get out because those are usually the matchups where Mandibuzz will do better. So in this case, because Sludge would be resistant, I'm actually going to go straight into Credilli opponent, not able to get to a Dynamic Punch before I'm able to get that Rock Tomb off. And they know if they throw a Shadow Punch before I get to the Rock Tomb, I know it's a Rock. I know it's going to be a debuff Shadow Punch. It's fine. Or a non-debuff Shadow Punch, and I would have let that go, and they wouldn't have got a shield off me. It's easier for them to get the shield off me. Then they come in with their own Credilli. I would love to run a Shadow Dusknoir. You know what I don't have? A Shadow Dusknoir without frustration. But, so here in this game, next move I'm going to make here is I'm going to bring in the Swalot. The switch timers are completely misaligned here, so I'm going to be able to hopefully get an Ice Beam off with some good timing. Go for as much energy as I can before they can get to another move here. Ice Beam will hopefully do enough. I'm not very familiar with Swalot's damage, but we get enough to knock out Ice Beam. I'm going to go with just one more on good timing here. We're going to go for 1 Ice Beam against the Dusknoir. Try to see if we can't get some damage. I could have maybe baited and gone for the Ice Beam, but I'm like, this ain't worth it, man. This ain't worth it. We're going to go for the Ice Beam and then immediately swapping Mandibuzz in there. So wheezing. And this is the first game that I start with this team, right? And after the 3 sets worth of course they have this in the back, the one thing that they need to beat me. And mind you guys, I have been hard countered in pretty much always so far, except for the Credilli mirror. They had a Dusknoir on my Swalot. They have a Wheezing on my Mandibuzz. Is there a way for me to win this game? Well, yes. It's me expecting that they have Sludge and Brutal Swing, and that's the way that I'm playing this right now. If they have Play Rough, I lose, and I just accept that. I go for the move right away, thinking that they're going to go for 1 and then a swap, but unfortunately for me, they do get to bring in the Dusknoir. However, fortunately for me, I live that Shadow Punch on my Mandibuzz, and we're going to be able to knock out, and then Swalot comes in, gets the shield off the opponent, and they're going to have to throw energy in order to get to a move. Now, in this entire time, I'm saying, man, it would be really fortunate for us to be able to get to a move on Credilli, because I'm not winning this game either way. Mandibuzz is going down to 1 Fairy Wind. Opponent, I just need Credilli to clutch up here, but we get to the Rock Tomb. We had one loaded, so past me, looking out for future self me, getting the Rock Tomb off for the game win here. A good game to the opponent. If nothing else, these were some incredible games that were super close. And I feel like all 3 of these Pokemon are really strong right now, so I think that they're really good. I like the opponent comes now here with a Feraligatr, and this is a really dangerous thing to swap into because both Credilli and Mandibuzz are weak to Ice, so I can't really reliably just say, I'm going to bring in Credilli, and my brain had already locked in the swap to Mandibuzz. Once I got that shield, I think that the correct play was probably to come in with Credilli, but Swalot, I do need it, at least, well, I don't need it for the Superior, but it certainly is going to put a lot of pressure on the opponent's Superior. And I come in with Mandibuzz here thinking, okay, I can win this matchup as long as I call the Ice Beams correctly, and I can still have enough Mandibuzz left to pressure that stupid Grass Snake that has been literally plaguing my entire life for like the last 3 sets. Every time it's in the back, it's like, oh, this beats your Golisopod because you're, down a shield, or, stuff like that. So I'm going to come in with my Credilli here once they show me this Guzzlord, because I know that both Swalot and Mandibuzz have incredible amounts of pressure into the opponent's superior, and they're still also extremely healthy. So I'm very happy to just let Credilli do Credilli things here against this Guzzlord. I am going to lose CMP. I don't know if this knocks out. This is after a debuff. Let's see if Credilli, is it making it? Bro, I had so many like 1 HP lives with this Credilli, it's insane. And I'll take those all day. Opponent has the Gator in the back. Now, I still have to be careful that they're going to get to an Ice Beam. We cannot really tank an Ice Beam quite comfortably here. I'm going to come in with my Swalot here because it's going to be able to tank a move. It's only going to take neutral, and we have Sludge for the superior, and I can just bring in the Mandibuzz at this point. And if the opponent doesn't have a move loaded, basically, I can come out of this matchup with 2 moves for Mandibuzz pretty simply. I'm going to go ahead and swap out to catch a move, a potential Aerial Ace here on their 5th Vine Whip. As I remember, they only threw 1 before they swapped before, and then they had the 1 after swapping in, and that's going to be a good game to the opponent as they realize it's over. And that team, followed by this Alolan Sandslash. And would you look at that? I have nothing I can do. Like, I wasn't even considering Alolan Sandslash when I built this team. I'm not going to lie. And I saw 2 of them. And both of them completely destroyed my face. So, I already expect to lose games. Like, if I see something like this, I expect to lose games, but here's my plan, right? How do you deal with this thing? I know I'm doing super effective with the mud shots. The sludges ain't doing nothing, but they're adding up with the mud shots. I'm going to have to give up a shield here, and I'm okay to do that because if I give up a shield, this might potentially set me up to be able to get rid of this Alolan Sandslash after this is over. So I'm going to be going for the Sludge here. Opponent still not shielding, as they don't really have a need to, but they bring in their Shadow Sableye, and I realize as well, down to shield, I'm in a bad spot. I run the Air Slash Mandibuzz because I feel like it's better neutrally into a lot of things. There's not so many things in the meta at the moment that resist flying outright. So having that fast move damage that's always neutral or better is really nice. However, there's times where there's a Sableye in front of you that shoots off dazzling gleams faster than you can get to moves, and you just get upset. So I just let that go. And I'm like, you know what? Let's give Credilli a farm down. I'm going to have to shield to get this farm down, but at this point, I'm just going to put it all in the back of my little flower that could. And if the opponent wins at this point, as soon as I saw the Alolan Sandslash, I already expected to lose this game. So they come in with superior, and it's over. We're done. I can wrap it up. I can top left, and I can just go home and get into the next game. And the opponent comes in with the Sandslash. I'm like, man, maybe I can make something. Maybe we simul swap and they don't get to a move. Nah. I'm not getting to enough Rock Tombs for this thing. Never. Nope. Good game. You can have it. You're running a Alolan Sandslash today, you can have it. Swalot, however, in Mandibuzz is not a good matchup because we have Mud Shot for our fast move, but I am going to go ahead and hit it with an Ice Beam if I can, but the opponent makes a very nice catch here. Now, they have a Mud Boy in the back. I noticed that it was Quagsire before I threw. I'm not going to stay in too long. I'm going to go for one more, and I honestly meant to switch right away, but the game was just like, nah. So I'm going to shield up what might be a Stone Edge here. If they're safe swapping a Mud Boy, there's a solid chance that there might be something else in the back that is weak to grass. And quite honestly, this already, with Mandibuzz in the lead, if I can set Credilli up to have some energy when their opponent's Mandibuzz or whatever else is in the back comes in, I can still apply debuffs. I can go for Grass Knots. So having energy when I know their lead is not particularly strong into Credilli already is a very good thing to do here. Opponent going to take these Rock Tombs. I'm going to be looking to throw another Rock Tomb, but I'm over farming, hoping I get there before they do, and thankfully we do. Now, the opponent has the ball in their court. They have to either shield or let this go. They decide to shield whatever they have in the back. Maybe not a fan of the Credilli, but because of the fact that we've already farmed up a bit of energy, we're close enough to another one. The opponent swaps one move too early. Quite honestly, if they had waited one more Bullet Seed, they would have absolutely been able to completely take me off guard. But the opponent gets the Gastrodon one-shotted. And then we have our Mandibuzz and they concede. Good game. I love to see it. Don't disrespect my Dilly. How dare you? There's an opponent here. They have a Clodsire. This is a very awkward matchup because I really don't have any strong answers here. So I have to try and beat this thing with just a bit of a dance, right? Everybody has to play a part, and so it's going to come down to also what's in the back, right? So I'm expecting with a Clodsire lead, could be a you know, dark types in the back. Very often could end up being someone's, I wasn't expecting a Sableye per se, but I was thinking maybe their own Mandibuzz could be potentially, it really could, I mean, it's Clodsire, dude, let's be honest, that thing has, like, anything could be back there, but opponent's got the Sableye, and they're not building up to the Dazzling Gleam, so I know that I can let this go. It's also a Purified Sableye, so there's also just a solid chance that they have return, and I make a mistake in counting here. I should have just gone for 1 and then the move. I thought maybe they had thrown right when they had the move, but I was off by 1, as I tend to be, but what this does allow me to do is it allows me to farm up a little bit more and get near 2 Rock Tombs, and I can go for 1, take out the Sableye if they don't shield, and then if the opponent comes in, I'm going to be able to hopefully throw some sort of good damage at this thing, and they come in with the Clodsire. Honestly, I'm hoping they don't shield this. I need them to get, I need to get rid of this Clodsire, man. That thing is going to be a menace. I'm going to swap immediately into Swalot here, applying a little bit of super effective damage with those mud shots before the opponent throws what is most likely an Earthquake, and I'm just going to take it. I know that Swalot has some bulk, and I'm hoping that I can leverage that. Now the opponent comes in with a Feraligatr, and I'm like having a pretty massive oh crap moment as I realize that they're going to basically be able to fully farm down my Swalot and shield twice if they want to. Cordeli's too low to really do much at this point, so I have to put this on the back of Mandibuzz, which now once again provides that I have to call these Ice Beams. Now, in my mind, I think the opponent just goes double Ice Beam here. So I'm expecting them to try and go for the next one on good timing since they knew I just came in. So I wait the turn, swap to catch on Cordeli, and thankfully that pays off here as the opponent full sends the Ice Beam into Cordeli, and now suddenly this game is looking winnable. The opponent farming up energy, but I wait to make sure they don't swap after that 4th Shadow Claw. And then I'm going to go for the foul play. That's going to knock this Feraligatr down pretty low. This opponent's at an Ice Beam. This is going to be a problem, but that means they're also out of energy. And that Clodsire, not looking too healthy, not going to be able to get to a move after having just thrown the Earthquake. And now we should be in a position to win. I could also have farmed down, but I felt that it was safer to farm down the Gator. So I didn't. I threw in the. I decided to throw into the Clodsire instead. Good game. Wiggly! Oh, Swalot wants to eat you all up. All the way, Grumpig swaps in, and I'm like, what is this Psychic type? And I'm like, yes, of course it's Grumpig. So, a little bit late on the swap for me. I wasn't really sure what Psychic type it was, even though it probably makes sense it was Grumpig. But it's like that thing, right? Like, there used to be all these Psychic types. It used to be like Cresselia, Eoxys. There was like a bunch of mono Psychic types. Hypno was even one of them, that you would just be like, okay, well, which one is it? And you wouldn't be able to necessarily figure it out. Now, in this case, I kind of wish I had Snarl, but at least being super effective damage here. Would feel better about throwing energy if I need to, but I know that I can see that I can live this 3rd Dynamic Punch, and these Psy Waves are doing 1 damage apiece, leaving us with plenty of energy. I'm going to go for an Aerial Ace on 3 if the opponent is running, if they're throwing Dynamic Punch at that point right when they got it. They would have needed 10 more Psy Waves to get to the next one, so we can go ahead and go for it. Now, we go for a charge move here on Charge Attack priority, it looks like. I couldn't tell if they threw in good timing or not, but it was the CMP tie here, and that means that they're either going to have to shield and potentially lose their Grumpig on 1 HP, and they decide it's not worth it. They're going to come in with a Claydol, and switch was necessary. You got to bring in Cordeli to the Claydol, and we're going to be able to win the ones there, and the opponent concedes. Lapras in the next game. Yeah, this is tough. Cordeli comes in, opponent has Drapion, so they're already very well prepared for the Cordeli save swap. The nice thing here, though, is that especially after playing Cordeli leads a lot, I prefer to see this on the save swap. This is a very nice thing to be able to draw out. Mandibuzz, while it does win this matchup, it's still nice to get this out of the picture just because the opponent's incredibly spammy. Now, I'm going to let this go. I'm like, all right. Either I've debuffed them, but Crunch leaves me with 1 HP. Once again, Cordeli's hanging on by a thread, rolling off the Rock Tomb, getting shield advantage, and the double debuff Drapion is going to get farmed down by Swalot's Mud Shots. And then hopefully Mandibuzz with a shield advantage can kind of clutch up afterwards. Now, opponent's getting fully farmed down here. Perfect 4, and they're not able to get to a move. All this energy, where's it going to go? Well, it's going to go into this Lapras because I need to do some chip damage, and I'm hoping that whatever they have in the back is not a hard answer to Mandibuzz, so I'm going to swap it in here. So the opponent needs a few more, and they have a Wiggly. And it's just, you know, we go back to it once again. It's like, it doesn't matter how well you play the game, doesn't matter how well things seem to go, it's just everything falls apart when there's a Wigglytuff in the back that can charm down the whole Mandibuzz. And because I'm not able to get rid of this, even with this, they don't even shield this, dude. but they'll be able to apply at least an Icy Wind debuff here, and I have to save my shields for the Lapras because they're going to get to plenty of charge moves before I'm able to get to it. So with the quickness, I concede, knowing I'm going to lose a good game. Not playing that one out because I know there's no chance. However, we have a decent lead here with Azumarill. I see that they have the Azumarill, and I have two really good responses to it. However, I don't have a good response necessarily to the Drapion. Now, I probably should have just brought Mandibuzz in here. What I decided to do here was I figured they're not going to throw an Aqua Tail. They'll go for the Crunch. I can go for a Resisted Sludge. What this does, though, is this chip damage now puts the Drapion within range of one Aerial Ace knocking out right when I get to the move. So I can just tank this energy. I can go for a couple more, and I'm going to throw on Alignment here because I think they're going to throw on good timing. I want to catch them off guard, and I want to have some HP left over. I really thought about just letting some more charge moves go and maybe trying to get a farm down, but I'm like, it's hard to say because letting Azumarill get all this energy is going to be a bit of a pain. But I have two really good responses to it, at least so far that I think. So as long as I'm keeping Mandibuzz on the, doing something. I thought about swapping into Swalot or Cordilli, but I had a feeling that maybe Switch might have mattered here. And so they come in with their own Swalot. And I'm like, who are these people running Swalot? I thought I was alone. And then I said, Jawkiss is running Swalot. Everybody's running Swalot today. So, you know what? That's okay. Let's appreciate Swalot for what it is. Pretty much fringe anti-meta, like spice cabinet pick, and now it is actually a Great League viable mod. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw this Sludge here. I'm likely this is going to get a shield. The opponent would be way too low if they let this go, and I'm going to call the opponent baits me back. And I'm saying, okay, you don't have any debuffing moves here. Cordilli with a shield advantage surely will do fine. I'm going to farm up a little bit more than I probably should have. I probably could have just gone for the Sludge at this point, but I want to go ahead and see if they're willing to put up their final shield, and they are. So 2-0 shield, Cordilli. I really just need to get the two charge moves here. I'm going to shield up a potential Ice Beam. I know I can live an Ice Beam, fine, but I need to get rid of this Swalot here before it gets to a move. Now, the thing that I don't know is, especially with that bait, is that they have the Ice Beam loaded. And who wins CMP with Cordilli versus Swalot? And I don't know the answer to this. So the way that I'm going to play this game reflects me not knowing this. I need to get rid of this thing before they can get to a move. They have no shields left. I'm looking for the farm down, and I don't get it. At this entire point, I think they still have a shield. And that's probably why this play goes the way it does. I make a really stupid decision here, not realizing that they still have no shields. So we get a really sick catch on the Swalot, but Cordilli would have won CMP. So I could have absolutely just done that. And yeah, so I played this completely like on hard mode for no reason. But we take a win anyway, which is nice. Well played to the opponent. None of that was BMs. It's just me being an idiot and not realizing that I don't have any shields left. So just like the Dusknoir, we're going to just go straight to Cordilli in the Shadow Sableye lead here. Opponent's going to stay in most likely and go for their charge move. That's fine with me. I'm just going to let this go. I know that this is just a foul play based on how many Shadow Claws they threw. And now their opponent's going to catch a Rock Tomb on the Drapion, which is actually quite fine with me. Because two Rock Tombs pretty much do enough to knock out, and opponent catching there means that they're just going to get to a Crunch, but I have not been debuffed by their Crunch yet, so I'm going to let it go. And once again, Dilly just living on 1 HP in a dream here, dude. How many 1 HP in a dream scenarios can you ask for? The opponent lets the Drapion go, not willing to sacrifice a shield, but they give me switch advantage, which might prove to be helpful here, especially because I have a Mandibuzz and they have a Sableye. But their Sableye has some energy, and because of the fact that I'm running Air Slash, I have much slower pacing here. I would much rather have Snarl, I think, in this situation. But like I said before, having that, just knowing that your fast move damage is almost never going to be resisted for very few things in the game, is very comforting to know. Now, the opponent has a shiny Shadow Lapras. That is a hell of a flex. Love to see it. But we're in a little bit of hot water here, given that we've just got Mandibuzz and Swalot, and the opponent has two shields to play with. I'm going to call that they're going to go for a Sparkling Aria bait. Realistically, though, this is never a bait, and I really think that I should have just go ahead and shielded that, at least forcing them now to go for Ice Beams. Now they're going to be able to go for Sparkling Arias quite freely here. I'm going to try to overfarm, maybe even farm down. I should have committed to the farm down, I think. But opponent does swap out here. So Swalot now is going to go for 2 Sludges, and I'm hoping that maybe I can pull back in my Mandibuzz at some point. I really feel like swapping there was the key mistake that I made. I think that I quite easily farmed down, especially if they threw that Aria right about when they got it, because it's about 11 or 12, I believe. No, is it 10? It's either 10 or 11 or 12 to the Aria in order to get that move off. So as far as Psywave counts, I don't remember the exact. I don't have it in front of me, but foul play will knock out my my poor buddy boy here, and the opponent wins CMP, so I know I'm pretty much done here anyway. So good game to the opponent. Well played. Not much I could have done in that end. I mean, I could have, but it's hard to say. I was pretty confident that they were going to get to the Aria before I was going to be able to get that farm down, which is why I swapped, hoping to catch the energy, but unfortunately was not to be. Swalot on the lead here against Charjabug, considering that I have Mandibuzz, which is weak to Electric, and Credilli that is weak to Bug in the back. I'm more than happy to sit here and play this out. We're going to go for a couple of Sludges and see if I can stop yawning for just a few more minutes, dude. Come on, make it through the video, Felrose. You could do it. You tired, poor soul. Sludge, however, is going to do quite a bit, and I'm going to go ahead and let the next move go. The discharge will not be enough to knock out here, and I will look to try and see if I can get the opponent to shield for maybe switch advantage, or if I can get rid of this thing, take it out, then I'm going to be happy with that as well. So Sludge will knock out the Charjabug, and now we have Sableye coming. I'm going to immediately bring in my Credilli here, not looking to concede any farm to the opponent, and we'll have to see what they're going to have in the back, right? So you never know. The Sableye save switch doesn't necessarily mean anything specifically, but we are going to be able to do quite a bit of damage with this Rock Tomb and lower the opponent's attack. This will probably be what makes them want to switch out here, and if they don't, I'm fine no shielding this, because this is a debuffed foul play and I don't need to worry about shielding that. Then the opponent brings in the Azumarill. Now Azumarill is up a shield, but we have some energy and a pacing advantage. Is the opponent going to go ahead and let this go? This is going to be really nice to be able to get this damage, and the opponent does let it go. However, Swalot is in the back at low HP. Not probably going to be able to do very much. It's really quite low here. I'm not going to be able to do a whole lot, but what I'm going to look to do is maybe utilize it for a catch later in the game, and Credilli can continue to go for charge moves here. And now they're so low that I can go for Rock Tomb and maybe look to catch, and we do. I expect they're going to throw one before the CMP, so I'm going to go ahead and swap to my Swalot and use it for that catch. Now it's, do I bring in Credilli or do I bring in Mandibuzz? And I feel like because I have no shields and no switch, I need to bring in my Credilli here. Because if the opponent stays in with the against the Mandibuzz, they could do some serious damage to it. Whereas if I bring in Credilli, at least I force them to make a decision of bringing in the Sableye. Now, opponent likely has Dazzling Gleam. Whether or not they can get 2 off here is going to be critical for me. I'm going to be going for the farm down here and look to try and use these aerial aces to knock out the Azumarill. Now, we need only 4 more to get to the next move. Opponent threw pretty much right when they got the move, and they're not at the charge move yet. They are on 5 now. They need 6 for the play rough, and they're not there yet, which is going to allow us to win the game. Ice Beam would not have been enough. They did need to commit. Well played to the opponent here. Good game. Next game up, Swalot on the lead versus Sandslash. My nemesis strikes again, and immediately I've already written this game off as a loss. I feel like this is just one of those leads where it's like, if you see it, you just lose to it. There's nothing that you can do about this. But as we've seen, there's just 12 total games in this video. Only 2 of them had Alolan Sandslashes, and quite honestly, I wouldn't be worried too much about Alolan Sandslash. However, it might be starting to make a comeback. I might try it myself one of these days if I can find a good team around it. We're going to do the same thing as we did last time. I'm going to look to shield a move, let a move go, just try and see how low I can get the Sandslash. Maybe, if I'm lucky, this Sludge will get a shield. I'm hoping the opponent maybe sees the value in shielding here, but they don't. And unfortunately, I'm not able to get the one mud shot I need to knock it out. So Mandibuzz comes in, and we're thankfully able to get the Air Slash through before they can get to a charge move. And now the opponent has a Azumarill, and that's pretty much, I don't know whatever's in the back, but I'm pretty sure that alignment was going to matter in this game. If the opponent has maybe double water, I might think, okay, and they do have double water, but it's Jellicent, and Mandibuzz would have been really good aligned to this Jellicent. I'm just going to say that. Now, yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm hosed right now. I will go for the Rock Tomb. That will at least finesse a shield off the opponent. And I'm like, maybe we can try to bring in Mandibuzz here to do something. Opponent's at double surf, so I'm going to swap immediately after this so I can keep the Credilli alive in case there comes a point where I might be able to utilize it later in the game. Opponent going for the surf right away here, though, unfortunately, doesn't really give me much of an energy lead against the Azumarill, since their switch clock pretty much comes right back on up a shield with... Up a shield with literally, like, nothing to lose. The Azumarill is just going to completely just decimate my poor Mandibuzz here. So we're just going to go for some Aerial Aces. I'm trying to see if maybe I get the chance to tank this move and flip the switch timer around. But I truthfully don't know that there's any way, especially after tanking that Play Rough. If it had been an Ice Beam, you know, maybe they're on Hydro Pump Ice Beam, that would have been interesting, but unfortunately, no. And what I'm going to look to do here is even try to catch the Ice Beam, which we do, which was fine. And maybe this was the wrong play. I did have energy on the Credilli. I could have just probably let that go. I don't know that I was going to get the 2 charge moves, however. Plus, then I also have to get to a move before the Jellicent does, so I don't really think I had a path to victory in this game, but it could have been a little bit closer had I maybe not caught on Credilli. Hard to say. But anyway, good game to the opponent here. Well played anyway. All right, next game, we got Swalot into a Blastoise. Very neutral for the both of us here. Have one thing in the back that's not really happy to see Mandibuzz, or Mandibuzz is not really happy to see the Blastoise, but Credilli doesn't mind it at all. Now we're going to be going for a Sludge here, and look to take a move, hopefully. Bro, I just finished streaming. I'm so tired, dude. I'm sorry about that, y'all. We're going to take the Skull Bash here, and the opponent now is going to bring in the Drapion in response to the Credilli safe switch. This is usually nice to bring this out, but unfortunately, Swalot, however, is too low to be able to replicate the success we had last time and farm down without having to shield. So, unfortunately, I'm just going to have to see what I can make do with here. The opponent is going to be able to get to another move before I am. However, I know that I can live this, and I'm pretty confident that my Credilli's IVs are going to be good enough to live this as they are. Now, I'm going to go for a Rock Tomb, apply another debuff, and I'm actually kind of hopeful maybe I can farm, or I can get to a Rock Tomb before they can farm me down, but I'm not going to, and thankfully, as soon as I realized that they weren't going to be able to farm me down, they do go for the Aqua Tail here, so this is very nice. Swalot's going to come in, but I'm going to go for that Sludge quite quickly here with the quickness to go and get this damage off because it's actually going to matter. I don't want to be giving up a shield here, and the opponent is going to be going for a charge move. And if I'm going to give up a shield, here's where I might consider doing it. Because Swalot has some decent pacing. We could go for this one in the Sludge here, which we do. And then I think after this damage, I'm going to go ahead and let the next charge move go. And then it's going to come down to whatever the opponent has in the back. If we can deal with it with our Mandibuzz, then we're looking good. Otherwise, hard to say. But Hydro Cannon goes through, gets my shield, and the opponent brings in Wigglytuff. Bro, you've got to be kidding me. Don't go anywhere, trainers. We win these. We're going to be going for the Sludge. Then we're going to be going for another Sludge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doing as much damage and energy as I can. Even though the Air Slashes are going to be plenty here to make up the difference over these. Maybe I should have just gone in a little bit quicker. But either way, this Sludge is fortunately going to be able to put this Wigglytuff well into range for an Air Slash to knock out with the, or Aerial Ace to knock out with the Air Slashes. We're going to do just enough extra damage here just to make sure that this is lethal, because I'm not giving this Wigglytuff a chance to ruin my day. No, sir. Get out of my swamp. And then we're one away from the move with the Blastoise coming in. That was why I overfarmed. Not because I wanted to make sure it took that out, but because I wanted to make sure I could get to a move against the Blastoise before they could, because they threw pretty much right away. So, really fun team. Swalot works, Mandibuzz works, and Credilli works. All three of these are very strong Pokemon in the Open Great League meta. Definitely Swalot being the spiciest of the three of these, but hey, you know what? Sometimes you gotta have fun and enjoy some spice picks once in a while. That's gonna do it for me for today's video, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.